Democracy is very tough to manage, but it's the best form of government.
We must promote unity, stability, and economic justice for everyone.
The question of security is paramount in my mind because women are the high victim of insecurity.
Our diversity is an asset if we know how to use it.
The presidency, in the face of diverse and complex challenges to rescue the Nigerian economy, has exhibited determination, proactive approach, efforts and initiatives to bring Nigeria out of its current economic quagmire. Is the presidency on the right track? Is the presidency actually doing enough? These are questions our analysts will prefer answers to on the Presidency in Focus on TV Nigeria this week. Thanks for joining us. Nigerians today have the issue of trust in the current administration with regards to the current challenging, excruciating situation in the country. And this, of course, has created a lot of tension. Just like we said in our introduction, we're looking at the presidential rescue mission to save Nigeria's dwindling economy. Of course, looking at the issues, the challenges, and prospect. Today, we're going to be looking at various very proactive efforts being made by the presidency. But again, is the presidency doing enough? That's the big question on the minds of Nigerians. To take a look at this issue with us today, we have a political leadership governance consultant, public affairs analyst, a human rights advocate, and finally, is also a pastor. Let's welcome Dr. Patrick Anidi. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for always having me.
Also, to be looking at this issue with us today is a public affairs analyst, a political and governance consultant, analyst as well, a leadership expert, Mr. Israel Olusegun. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Okay, gentlemen, we captioned this discussion, the presidential rescue mission to save Nigeria's dwindling economy. Issues, challenges, and prospects. Dr. Patrick Anidi, when we talk about rescuing a dwindling economy, do you think, in your line of thought, the presidency is doing enough?
It is too early to actually want to judge the presidency or the president. I think it's less than a year now that he has been there. But like some people will say, in Yoruba language, they say how Saturday will look like can be determined by Friday. Observing and looking at what is happening, I want to believe that he is trying his best. And I make bold to say, committedly, that he's on the right path. Unfortunately, we are talking about a country that inhabits over 200 million citizens. It is difficult to satisfy everybody. Recently, I launched onto a data, or I latched on a data that says globally we have 44,000 diseases. And so we exist in the midst of 44,000 diseases. If you don't take certain proactive steps, those diseases definitely will bring you down or annihilate you. So the presidency the president is operating in the midst of typically over 44,000 diseases. And I believe that he won't fold his hand to allow the disease to take him over and, of course, eliminate him. So I believe, just like a typical human being will take steps to improve on his or her health that he might live, the presidency is working. So I will submit that he's doing his best as much as humanly possible. Of course, nobody is perfect.
Let me come to you, Mr. Olusegun Aina. A rescue mission, because already we have 44,000 diseases, just like Dr. Patrick. But I want to ask the question again. Is the presidency or the president doing enough?
The current president, if you ask me, I will say, took over an already almost dead economy. The previous guy already almost killed it. So he is now trying to resurrect and revive something almost dead. You know how difficult and challenging that can be? Because he's trying to revive something that somebody had already messed up. Personally, one major problem I have with the current situation of things is, you see, if they say there is no gain without pain, but you see, if your pain assures you that there will be a future gain, in fact, to go through that pain will be easier for you.
Dr. Anidi, agriculture is a major economic drive of Nigeria. We have all it takes to feed ourselves. But the signal, the impression is that Nigerians are hungry. And this has made the president to begin to bring out certain strategies to try to calm hunger and try to, make life more comfortable for Nigerians. But the major challenge is the purchasing power of Nigerians, the naira. And so looking at battling the dollar, trying to strengthen the naira, and trying to provide enough food for the country. The question is, why are we suffering from the ability or the challenge to feed ourselves as a country? What should the presidency do? What policy direction should they do to ameliorate this situation?
I want to start with agriculture. Nigeria has the landscape in terms of space of land to practice or to do agriculture. You know that before the discovery of the oil that we are talking about as the mainstay today, farming was the mainstay, agriculture. I can tell you as a researcher, some years ago, I did a study and we realized that we started having young graduates or youth migrating towards farming, agriculture in Nigeria. But, that dream was short-lived because of a problem of insecurity, herdsmen attack and all that. So if we are looking at agriculture, yes, it is a fundamental. It should be the hub upon which the nation revolves majorly. But when the environment is not enabled, it becomes an issue. So those who ought to be in the farm working are running away from the farm because of insecurity. Having said that, I quickly want to throw in this.
Yes.
I also think that one of the problems of agriculture, quite apart from insecurity, the presidency or the current leadership should look at how do we make access to funds. I know the central bank keep talking about anchor borrower and all that. What proportion of the farmers actually have access to funds? We know that cost of inputs are not quite easily affordable. So if the president can beam their satellites in that direction and begin to look at how do we make money, funding available to people, we go a long way.
Mr. Segun, can we share your own opinion on this matter?
You see, the most active, the most energetic, and the most powerful generation of any community or society or country are the youths. If that generation, you make agriculture attractive to that generation and they go into it, anything the youths go into, even in church now, churches who have realized that they allow the youths to operate in certain areas, and the way they are moving, you, the elderly, you will just have to leave the way. So how attractive, how mechanized, how financially backed up and incentivized is the agricultural sector. If you get that one right, all this thing will step aside. That's why somebody said this oil boom has it really caused an oil doom for us. Because it has taken our eyes off more important, more lucrative things.
Let me take you to the recent meeting with the governors by the president. That meeting actually brought up, a revelation that the president or the presidency has given all the governors whatever they want. The derivation funds from oil and even local government funds, all for the governors to just go to their state and let the development water down in terms of implementation of policies and all that. That was the revelation from that meeting with the governors, because we noticed something about President Tinubu. He tries to quickly take charge of the crisis and wanting to make sure that Nigerians understand that he's making some effort. Now, to you, Dr. Patrick Kanidi, what's your position on this matter?
If the president or the presidency invited the governors to a meeting, I said the last time I came here that there should be such regular meeting to hold the governors accountable for them to present their, what I call, milestones. This and this is what we have achieved in this quarter, and this is our proposal for the next quarter. Such meetings is very, very essential if we must go forward. Now, if they met the governors and the governors are not able to come up with, clear-cut report, what I call report of their achievement, then there is a lacuna, there's an issue. I will want to encourage the presidency or the president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, to keep, priming on that, inviting the governors, making them accountable. And I also want to say this, when we are talking about funds, the fund that should be available, which I believe the current administration is doing its best, I want to believe that this current administration is very, very proactive. Face-to-face meeting with unions like the labor and all that. Because communication is essential to bridge whatever gap that may have exist outside there.
Okay, Mr. Shegun, what's your opinion?
Concerning the issue of governors, me, I've always believed that, some of these governors, in fact, some of these states, I call them glorified local government areas. Some of these states, they shouldn't even be states. Some of them are, what are they generating? What are they doing? They only collect all these federal allocations to share. Those who should be putting them on their toes and putting them on their seats, are they really doing the job? If some of these state house of reps, they are doing their jobs, and these governors know that they can get impeached or they can get queried and tackled concerning certain issues, they won't be where they are. But most of them are so relaxed, because as far as they are concerned, governing their state is all about sharing money. Most of the blames are accruing to the president. The governors are actually, but because of the kind of, political system, government, everything is on the central. Most of these things, the governors are actually liable. They are the ones not doing the things they should be doing. So the main thing is, even the local government, most of the funds that should go to the local government, the governors, they intercept it, collect it, and they give them some, and then things are not working because the structure for it to work. Somebody said, even if you bring Jesus Christ to be president of Nigeria, if this system we practice remains the same, except he uses his power as God to veto things, he will fail.
It's been quite interesting listening to Dr. Patrick Kanidi and, of course, Mr. Olusegun Aina. Obviously, they have a strong grasp of the issues on ground. And so, how far can the president rescue this economy? We'll be right back after this time out. Stay tuned. The presidency in focus on TV Nigeria is still on, and we still have our special guest, Dr. Patrick Kanidi, and of course, Mr. Shegun Aina. Gentlemen, let me quickly come to you, Dr. Patrick Kanidi. You talked about the president. He should be holding periodical meetings with the governors. Recently, he held a tripartite meeting with major economic stakeholders, the Dangote, the Tony Elumelu, the Boa Group. There is this general impression that this group of people, they have a strong grip on the economic nerve of the country based on their huge investment on ground. If the president must rescue this economy, would it just be only dialogue? Can he enforce certain things? Dr. Patrick.
It has to be dialogue, sir. Sometimes you don't have to fight and go to war to win. Sometimes you have to dialogue. In Nigeria, as we speak, I was talking to some group of people and they said Nigeria is in the hand of 1 or 2 or 3 persons. And that the president should go after them and bring them down and, open Nigeria to importations and whatever. And in fact, do something to ensure that the monopoly they enjoy is broken. If you are not careful in treating cancer, you're going to have challenge. This man is wise and he has come to understand the fact that it may be 1 or 2 other persons, they are powerful. They probably control 70-80% of the system. So what must we do? Come, let's reason together. Remember, even God gave us that invitation. Yeah. Say, come, let's reason together. It doesn't matter the coloration of your sin. Bring your point. Let me bring my own point. Then we look at a point of, compromise, or in economy you call it equilibrium, and move on. So what he has done, sir, calling the governors is not necessarily to reprimand them and punish them, is to tell them, look, we are talking about a renewed hope. The hope we promised before failed. Let's renew it, and we must work together. That is the issue. Coming together is to find a way forward to ensure that the renewed hope is actually delivered. It's not a sign of weakness.
Mr. Shegun.
Sometimes you need to even dialogue with even a thief. That's what they call plea bargain. Even in America, they do it. At times you feel we'll be wasting too much time and money, dragging this case with this guy. We know he has done it. He's the bad guy. But maybe it makes more economic sense to tell him, okay, make this thing easy for us. What I just feel is always adopt the carrot and the stick approach. One hand, you are dialoguing. If you need to use the iron fist, at times you need to go hard. These are principles. Even the Bible says it. Until the day of John, the kingdom of God suffereth by only the violent.
When you talk about coming hard, recently we heard that the government is about to open up the borders to bring in importation of cement and all that. Because the monopoly, how can the president break the monopoly of the big boys holding on this economy to ransom?
Hey, look, do you know that I think just about a week ago or so, I went to the market. A bag of cement had climbed up to something like 12,000 naira. After the president made that announcement that they will open up the borders and break, it came down to 8,000. That's an immediate effect. You need to destroy certain monopolies. This is what I mean by they should go hard on,
Now, to you, Dr. Patrick Kanidi, is it obvious that the president knows what to do, even after this dialogue?
What he has done, he has the native wisdom. He also has the fatherly, what I call wherewithal. He has the political will to sit down. In fact, most of the governors are like his, permit me to use this word, like sons and daughters, so to say. And so he can call them and use the native wisdom approach. It is the native wisdom that we are endowed with that is holding Nigeria together. And so when he calls governors together, all the so-called business produce that we are talking about, he is able to speak to them the language that they understand. He is able to tell them, gentlemen, I have been there before. I've made money before. I know what it takes. You can do X, Y, Z. Let's help our nation.
Thank you very much. Mr. Shegun, looking at the aftermath of that meeting, what will be your advice to these personalities that attended that meeting? I'm talking about the Dangote, Otedola, Tony Elumelu. These are very strong economic pillars in terms of the business investment terrain in Nigeria.
Two things will determine what my counsel or advice to them will be. When they went there, what kind of vibe did they get from the president? Was it the kind of vibe that tells them this person is serious and he knows what he's talking about? Because you see, they can go there and go back home, business as usual. It's just playing. We know how we play this game, and you know that kind of a thing. But if they know that this man, number one, he knows what he's talking about, and now he has given us the carrot thing. If we mess up, he has the capability to give us the stick thing. I will advise and I will expect them to go back home and be able to do business in such a way that Nigeria's interest will not be jeopardized.
Doctor, I'm sure you want to say something.
After that meeting, the threat, the possibility of opening the border for importation of cement came in. So it's not about the threat. It's about coming to this point where we have to say, man, we've tried all the possibilities. I think we need to change. If old methodology is not working for us, let us reinvent it and move forward. That is where we are.
All right, thank you very much. Gentlemen, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu recently implemented the Onitsha report, merging of government agencies, scrapping of other agencies. Let me come to you, Mr. Shegun. What is the implication of implementing this report, which was put together under former President Goodluck Jonathan?
It will be very, very good for us. Though we will have to make sacrifices. Certain things will have to go, but it will be very, very good for us. You know, we have too many duplications, useless duplications of parastatals of functions, where you should have one DG, you have like 6. EFCC, ICPC, Code of Conduct. What they should be together, they are all fighting corruption. You know, we all some of these things were, even states were created to make certain people feel good. That's how senseless and mundane some of these things are. How can you be doing such things just to settle political supporters? So let him put this thing in place. He should not care whose ox is God, and then Nigeria will be the better for it.
Dr. Nidi, in the course of implementing the Onitsha report, this is going to take like 12 weeks. First, what's your thought about the president implementing this report? And two, is 12 weeks enough to actually get this whole thing well implemented?
12 weeks is 3 months. I think is enough. If it doesn't take him anything to retire some generals from different, units in the security force, why should 3 months be considered as being too short? The issue is that there must be audit of the personnel and look at those who are near retirement. However, I want to advise that such people should be given good soft landing in such a way that as they are leaving the civil service terrain, they can go into private practice, set up small-scale businesses. Do you know that small-scale businesses is what is actually feeding our nation? Most of the greater part of our GDP come from the SMEs. And so if these people can be given good soft landing, I think there will be no reason to regret.
Well, you're still watching the Presidency in Focus on TV Nigeria. We'll be right back after this time out. Welcome back. You're still watching the Presidency in Focus, and I still have my guest here. So over to you now, Dr. Anidi. To run an economy like Nigeria, you need money. The impression, again, is that when this government came into power, they met a very empty treasury. Head of EFCC, talking about Olukoyode, has said the commission received over 5,000 fraud petitions and recovered 60 billion naira loot. Also, retrieved $10 million looted funds within just the shortest period under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Dr. Patrick Anidi, what does it tell you?
The statistics and the effort of the EFCC is very, very commendable. But there is an aspect that must be looked into. Because we have never published the names and the list of culprits. We don't really know what is going on. Who are the people? What punishment have been meted to them? We need this to further confirm the fact that he's working. Not just collecting the money and shaking hands with them and say thank you. No. Let's publish their name. Let's have a show of who they are for Nigeria to have deeper confidence in what he is doing. But I think I must salute the fact that he has tried.
The president must be ready to go the whole hog. Don't just start. It's not about checkmating, but punish. Let us see disciplinary actions. Let's see, if you catch a thief today and you just collect some of the loot and then you leave him, that means he can always go back. If you want to fight something, where is the best place to go? The source, the root. You have left the root. You are fighting the branches, and you are wasting time.
Gentlemen, a very critical issue we must also look at, because all these issues are in the bid to stabilize the economy based on the proactive efforts of Mr. President. And that is the issue of price control. With the current economic situation, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is increasing prices, especially foodstuff. The price of foodstuff has gone up. The purchasing power of Nigerians has dwindled because of the current situation of possibly dollar, naira, even those things that don't even has any correlation with dollar or whatever. There's been general call for a price control board. Is that feasible with the current economic situation? Can the president actually achieve this?
Nigeria is not like one of those developed nations where structures and control mechanisms are in place. For example, in America or elsewhere, once a decision is taken, everybody abide with the decision, and there is a mechanism that will track it to the very end, in such a way that if you commit certain crime in a particular location, you can be flagged off. We don't have that in Nigeria. So if you just out of maybe theory come up to say, now we have a price control board, how many persons will abide to that? What the government or the current leadership should do is to create enabling environment for Nigeria to thrive. If there is energy, there is good rule, there is security, price of thing will naturally nosedive or come down. I give you this example, sir. Yesterday, I drove to a place called Mowe, just the borderline between Lagos and Ogun State. It was a shocking revelation. While I was trying to drive out, I parked my car and said, let me pick one or two things. Then I saw a driver fighting with those boys we call Agbero or whatever. And the guy said, give me 1,005 naira, without which you won't go. The driver said, let me give you 700 naira. The man said, no. And while that argument ensued, the Agbero, the area boy, went and removed the seat from the bus. And I look at the people, I counted the number of people in the car. I said, how much of this will this guy go through? How long shall we continue this? So if the government can also try to stem down activities of, miscreants and area boys who inflict injuries on people who are doing their normal business, price will naturally come down. The reason why that transporter charge high is because if I'm going to take just a few people, and he was even telling me, sir, by the time I give this guy 1,005, all I'm left with is 1,004. And he's going to drive from that place to Oshodi Maitu. So the government should make the environment enabling enough. Once that happens, sir, I can tell you, price control will naturally be.
Mr. Shegun, what's your view on the price control board?
I don't think it's totally possible, but I think it's partially possible. Because, even if you are not an economist, we know that certain things should not or are not affected by this whole forex situation. You go to the market, Yelewedu will tell you dollar till loss, okay, dollar. What has dollar got to, Government was thinking about that some days ago, but I heard they have jettisoned the idea. They must have their reason. Maybe they've checked too, they've seen that it's a free market this now. You can't be, people will sell according to what and how they bought their, You can't tell me, I've just bought something for 50 naira. You force me to sell it for 50 naira again. So where is the gain? Government's business is to create an enabling environment for business to thrive. Most other countries where things are working, the private sector are the ones controlling things. Government only makes power available. Look at what just happened in Abia. Maybe you don't know, the whole of Onitsha now is independently powered. No 24/7 light system that works.
Recently, the president have decided to give some funds to unemployed graduates across the country. Dr. Patrick Anidi, Is it a welcome idea?
Well, we have social security of this nature everywhere in developed nations. But I think the Nigerian system is a unique one. If we don't have time span within which such we operate, we may eventually turn the youth that ought to be active population into population of lazy people, and they are no longer aspirational. But because of the current situation, the hardship that we find ourselves, it is not out of place to do that. But having said that, sir, I still believe that the only way to engage the youth and take them out of that burden is to create an enabling environment.
Mr. Shegun,
Well, no doubt, it's a lofty idea. It's a nice one. The only problem is, the danger of abuse. That's always the problem here. The ideas are abundant, but the implementation, and look at the student loan thing. I mean, it's normal welfareism. They do it everywhere. But our people, somewhere along the line, somebody will abuse something, and then it will turn into something else. But apart from abuse, beautiful idea.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the Presidency in Focus. So, Dr. Patrick Anidi, what's your last word to the President as he endeavors to rescue the Nigerian economy?
Yeah, he should continue strongly with his dialogue with the different segments of the economy. I tell you, he will earn the accolade, the love of the citizenry as he goes about this concept of leadership. He should remain focused and strong and be willing to hold the different leaders in the different segments responsible or accountable.
Well, my final words. A lot of people I've spoken with, I've discussed with, they believe two major policies of the president since he came caused all the problems we are in. They will tell you fuel subsidy removal, naira devaluation. About fuel subsidy removal, it's nice, but if we have done that and oil theft is still going on, refineries are not working, we may just be wasting our time. That's just the truth. Concerning naira devaluation, I think they've been able to kill the problem of arbitrage. The problem of arbitrage. The one that some people have, access to official rates. They will go and get it for 400. They will take it to the parallel, go and sell. That's how a lot of billionaires, emergency billionaires emerged. We know them. You see, for as long as we have a country that is big on imports, we are crazy about foreign products. We are always, this our naira devaluation thing will not help us that much. Let's be strong on exports. That's when we will know the value of this thing called naira devaluation.
Mr. Israel Olusegun Aino, public affairs analyst, leadership and governance expert, thank you for coming on the program.
It's been a very lovely time, very impactful time. Always a pleasure.
Dr. Patrick Anidi, who also is a human rights advocate, a leadership and governance consultant, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. You are doing so much to ensure that Nigeria gets the best out of it.
It's been a wonderful time. Thank you, gentlemen. Well, the submission today is that the Nigeria of our dream no doubt requires collaborative effort, collective responsibility from all tiers of government to rescue Nigeria from its current dwindling economy. For the president, piloting the Nigerian ship to a safe harbor is a task that must be accomplished. Join the conversation by visiting and subscribing to our web TV, www.tvnigeria.ng, YouTube, TV Nigeria 808. You can also visit our Facebook, Twitter, and of course, X at TV Nigeria, and on our Instagram, TV Nigeria 1. So do care to join us for another robust discussion on the Presidency in Focus on TV Nigeria. Thanks for watching.